Hey there, welcome to Coaching with Tally. I am calling all multitaskers for a conversation around productivity, focus, minimizing distraction. I am a fellow multitasker, recovering multitasker, let's call it that, in the process of getting less and less distracted by trying to do too many things at the same time. Totally guilty of it. In fact, true confession is I actually love the challenge of seeing how many things I can try to do and be effective with at the same time. But it actually doesn't work. And we're going to talk about some of the science behind this today and get you to a place where you're actually more productive, more efficient, and just handling more productive. So my name is Tally. I'm a life and personal development coach, and I work with leaders to create lives of overflowing impact in the world that are centered in joy. Really all about getting leaders aligned to who it is you most truly are, firing on all cylinders. We look at every area of life in this place of overflow where you're passionate and feeling purposeful and creating a life that you love living. So one of the ways that I do this is meet with private clients, and I work with a lot of high achievers, and I see this over and over again with them. I see this in myself. I see this in our culture. This is a huge part of being connected technologically, being in a culture where we so value results and productivity and achieving. And one of the things that we often do that we feel pressure to do, that we maybe feel challenged to do, and it's even kind of fun sometimes, but not that effective, is multitasking. So I'm going to go over some statistics with you today and look a little bit at what it actually does when we try to multitask. So distractions get in the way for us, in the way of our focus, our productivity, even our intelligence, which I think is super interesting. There are things linked to it actually lowering our intelligence to be multitasking. Crazy. But I think in the long run, this is going to be information that really is helpful for you. So stick with me for about 10 minutes, and then I'm sending out an email too that has a video that's actually super entertaining, and it's the thing that finally kind of got through to me. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or something, I was out in California at a mastermind, and the master coach who's out there that I was doing this training with showed us this video. It was all about multitasking, and I was just like, okay, I need to take this seriously. And since then, I've been trying to implement more and more single focus. It's still a huge work in progress for me, but this is really good for me and hopefully for you today to be talking about this subject. So many of us have an internet connected device within arm's reach 24/7, or a lot of the time. We have a technological addiction that is at an all-time high just in culture, and multitasking has become the new normal. But does it actually work? We're going to talk about that today. So studies have shown where the human brain cannot actually handle more than one task at a time, which seems crazy because we all do multiple things at a time. But in terms of your brain, it's not actually doing two things at a time. It's rapidly having to switch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there's a lot that gets lost in the transition time. So that's a super fascinating part. I'll give you some resources as we go. The myth of multitasking, it's a scientific, I think it's called Scientific America, 2009. It's a study in 2009 that has a lot of information about that switching back and forth process and how that harms us. This is interesting. Only 2.5% of our population actually can process, even has the capacity to process things simultaneously at the exact same time. That's James Watson of the University of Utah. In a study of Microsoft employees, this is fascinating, workers took on average 15 minutes to get back to high productive tasks like writing a report or doing computer code after responding to an email or a notification like an instant message. So when they switched to that, they handled that really quickly and then they got back into what it is they were doing. It took them on average, a full 15 minutes to get back into that flow of really being productive on that task. Super fascinating. It actually takes more time to get things done when we try to multitask. So this video that I'm going to put in the email, and by the way, if you're not getting emails from me and you would like to, I actually send you notes every day on these, along with the link to this video and other resources. So if that's something you're not getting and you'd like to get, just message me your email. We'll get you on that list and get you stuff like that. But the video that I mentioned with so basically the way that it worked is they put two guys side by side next to each other to do a task simultaneously. One was going to stay completely focused on like exact steps and stay focused on one thing at a time, and the other one was allowed to multitask and do it however he wanted. And so I think they had to build a dog house and then answer emails, and there were several different things, maybe some text message responding, something like that. And it was just wild to watch their cameras like side by side. They're both doing all the things, and the one got it done so much faster, the one that stayed focused. He did the building first, and then he did his emails, and then he responded to however he prioritized it. So it's fascinating. It really got my attention. But it actually takes more time to get things done when you try to multitask. So people who are interrupted and therefore switch their attention back and forth, they take 50% longer to accomplish a task. And that's John Medina from Brain Rules. So you can check that out, more information about that there. According to a study at the University of Sussex, constantly multitasking actually damages your brain, which is so counterintuitive to me, because there is some part of me that thinks that I'm actually strengthening my brain by trying to challenge it with doing all these different things at the same time. It's actually seriously fun for me trying to multitask things. I don't know why this is, but what research is showing is that it actually is damaging our brain to do this. So they found that people who regularly multitask have lower brain density in the region of the brain that is responsible for empathy, cognitive control, this is interesting, and emotional control. So if you find yourself like kind of snapping at people or having a short fuse, this is something that actually can tremendously help with that. So if you want more patience in your life, you want to have more emotional, cognitive control, just focusing and not multitasking could really support you. Super fascinating. I find this stuff really interesting. I don't love that this is the fact about it, but if this is the way that it works, I want to maximize it. So I want to get really good at this. So clearly the answer to does multitasking work is no. Multitasking and having a lot of distractions is harmful for us for a lot of different reasons. So by minimizing distractions and multitasking, you can, here are three things I want to tell you. You can increase your productivity by 40% and your speed by 50%. Crazy. You can increase your productivity by 40%. If you just think about your task list on a given day, increasing that by 40% just by staying focused, that's incredible. Increasing your speed by 50%, amazing. You can increase your IQ, that's crazy, up to 10% is what studies are showing. And you make 50% less errors on average. So that's again from Brain Rules. So here are some things, some ways that we can do this. I want to give you guys practical steps. I always want to leave you with ways that you can apply this, and we're going to have a kind of like activation thing that you can actually do today. So here are some ways you can begin implementing this thing of staying focused, of not multitasking so much. So one is by prioritizing your to-do list. So I guess that implies that you would have a to-do list and then that you would prioritize it. So get really clear about what needs to happen first and what are the most important things. Delegate wherever you can. So getting things off of your list that don't need to be you is another way to stay focused. Being aware of this pull to multitask. So just having the awareness of it and start to see it as a habit to break. You know, just begin getting yourself into this place where you don't value it, I think is a huge step for me. And then disconnecting from technology sometimes. So having our call to action today, our activation thing that you can do today is all around, I want to see what it does for you if you time block today. So if you decide these are my top 3 priorities, non-negotiable things that are going to happen today, put them actually onto your calendar as if it's a meeting with somebody else. This is one of the things I do with my clients. When they have things that are a priority, but they keep slipping through the cracks, it's almost like seeing it as a meeting with yourself. So schedule it on your calendar so nothing else gets in on top of that. Set a timer and time block it, and then remove your technology. So get things out of your way, notifications that are going to be popping up, like whatever, unless you have to, get yourself so that you're in a place where you're focused. So like for the next 15 minutes, this is the task at hand. This is what I'm going to focus on, or maybe it's 30, but having short blocks of time where you have a very intentional, this is what the outcome is going to be 20 minutes from now, 15 minutes from now. Here's what I'm going to create in the next 30 minutes, whatever that is. Get really clear about it, put it on your calendar, and then clear distractions. So things that are going to pull you into that temptation to multitask, just remove the temptation, focus in, and time block. So that's really, really huge. It's super supportive, and you will get so much more done. It's amazing. So time block something, your top 3 priorities today. Get them on your calendar, remove distractions, and then decide how long you're going to give it and go for it. So another thing I will say as a distinction, because there is a caveat to this. So sometimes there are things that don't require your brain to really be focusing on. Like a lot of times your cognitive function actually works better when you're moving. So for me, I know that I learn better, like I input information and learn better if I'm listening to an audiobook or a YouTube video or a podcast and I'm doing something that's mindless. So I could be doing dishes, I could be taking a walk, I could be driving somewhere, and I'm listening and learning. That actually can help you. But when you're switching back and forth, when your brain is having to switch back and forth in a lot of things that require a lot of input, like even listening to music with lyrics while trying to type something, they say that's hard for your brain, that it actually is, that's not helpful. But listening to music without lyrics while trying to type something can be helpful. So I don't know if that distinction helps, but getting into movement and physical activity where you can while learning can be a helpful thing. Things that are very autopilot for you. So you don't want to do things that require focus in 2 different directions. But if there are autopilot things, that actually can be great. So focus on one task at a time. Let's practice time blocking today. So get clear about what is the most important thing. Let's just do it in the next hour. So when you're watching this video, for the next hour, what are the 3 most important things? And maybe if you're watching this in the evening and you're catching this on the replay, let me know, by the way, if you're on here live or if you're catching this on the replay. Maybe it is, focusing on somebody in your life. Maybe it's getting yourself set up well for the next day, like setting things out so that you can get up and be in flow. Maybe it is, I'm going to be really present with my kids for the next 30 minutes and just do whatever they want to do. Like whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be super like check it off productive, but what are your top 3 priorities for the next hour? And they can be 10-minute increments or 30, however you want to break that up, and then be totally focused on it and only that. So have fun with that. See if it actually does support you. I would love to hear how this goes for you guys. So let me know your thoughts on all of this, and we'll see you again tomorrow.